Hi folks, welcome back to Song Tripping. I'm Jim. I wanted to do a long-awaited box set review of the album collection Volume 1, Bruce Springsteen. This is on vinyl, and I got this on sale a few months ago, and it was a big investment, but I think it was worth it. But let me get into just a quick rundown of what this set is all about, and I'll give you some off-the-cuff reviews, just impressions mainly. Originally, I had wanted to do a shootout, like kind of going album by album and comparing them to my originals, but I only did that in a couple instances. I just didn't have the stamina or the time to really like dig into that. Another day we'll do that. But I got, I think enough of a feel for this set to give you a good sense of what this is all about. So, first of all, just a note on the packaging. You get this kind of card insert, and then you get a scrapbook, essentially, which is nice. It's a nice design. You get ticket stubs and reviews, lots of press clippings. Just giving you a sense of really the reception history of Bruce Springsteen from his first, and in my opinion, his best period of work, working through the 1970s and into the early 80s. And then you get, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums. One of them is a double album. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I think it's 7 albums. You get, and I'll show them to you in quick order here. You get Greetings from Asbury Park. You get The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. You get Born to Run. You get Darkness on the Edge of Town. The double album, The River. Nebraska, which was one of the reasons why I got the box set, because I bought this when it came out in, what was it, like 82 or something, but somewhere along the line I gave it away or something, and it was nice to get this back on vinyl. Nebraska, and then the final one in the set is Born in the USA. All right, so you get your little box, and what I want to say about this is these albums were remastered using what's called the plangent process, and the albums stem from 1973 to 1984, so 11 years of Springsteen's career. This is really where he made his reputation, and you have a 60-page book. And the engineer Bob Ludwig, working with Springsteen and longtime engineer Toby Scott, remastered the albums, newly transferred from the original analog masters using the plangent process playback system, which I don't know a whole ton about, but I think it has something to do with like accounting for like wow and flutter on the source tapes and sort of, making things more precise and tighter. But they did do a remaster on these. These are not new. I think these remasters, when did they come out? 2014, I think. So about 10 years ago. And yeah, so here's some impressions on what I'm hearing. Now, I've heard almost all this material streaming, the remastered material, especially the early stuff. Some of the later albums I don't think I've heard in that on Tidal, but basically I've heard enough of that to get a sense for like what they were doing with the remastering, and I'll just give you some impressions and some quick comparisons. These are very subjective here, this reviewing, so your mileage certainly may vary, but in terms of first of all, the album cover designs are very finely done. So one reason to get this set is if your old copies, like mine, are beat up, uh, you're significantly upgrading the quality of your outer sleeves. And they do a nice job reproducing everything. So really no complaints. Nice and shiny, like good cardstock and so forth. So Wild Innocent and the E Street, I'm sorry, Greetings from Asbury Park. So this is an album that's risen in my estimation ever since I did a shootout of the Mobile Fidelity SACD versus other versions, the original one and the remaster. And I thought this sounded really nice on vinyl, but there was a big problem, and this got me worried from the get-go because I listened to these albums in order, chronological order. This album was a little warped. The vinyl had a little bit of dish warp to it. It did not affect the playability or sound that I could detect, but I thought, uh-oh, we have a quality control issue here. The good news is none of the other records were warped like this one was. But word to the wise, that is a risk. I don't know who pressed these albums, but they should have done some quality control on this one. It was concerning, but it all ended well. The sound quality was good. I think I still prefer the original vinyl to this one slightly, but I like this remaster better than its equivalent on digital streaming. The vinyl presentation, I thought, worked really well, and it was a satisfying listen. As far as Wild Innocent and E Street Shuffle, which is one of my top 2 favorite Springsteen albums, this one I gave a close listen to. I did a shootout of this one too with the SACD versus the different masterings. And I have to say, I also prefer this vinyl to the digital equivalent that you can stream. And it could have something to do with how it's cut or just the quality of the vinyl presentation. These albums, I think, are made to be listened to on vinyl, and it shows up really nicely. Now, I did compare this to the OG Wild Innocent, and I probably would still give the nod to the OG. So if you can find a clean copy of this one, you're in good shape, but you're going to be hard pressed to find something with this brand new, shiny, solid sleeve. But it was promising, listening to that one. I thought this sounds pretty good. I'm satisfied. Then we get to Born to Run, and this one is also one of my top 2 Bruce Springsteen albums. So I listened to this one very carefully, and I did, of all the albums, I think I did the most careful shootout between the old and the new. Here's my old copy. You can see it's got some shelf wear to it. So this one, listening to the new, it sounded, I wasn't really thrilled with it. I wouldn't say I disliked it, but it was a really mixed bag. So some of the songs just didn't quite sound right. They sounded a little too compressed, limited, or something. And then other songs sounded fine or really good. Like, I thought 10th Avenue Freeze Out was one of the better ones. And then in general, I thought side 2, starting with Born to Run, sounded better than side 1 when comparing it to the original. In the shootout, I think the original one hands down on side 1, and it was a much closer call on side 2. So this was a sort of difficult album to give a careful listening to because of the way it was recorded. I mean, they switched producers partway through, band personnel changed, and it was, with this kind of wall of sound production style that they were shooting for, there's so many overdubs. There was probably tape degradation, and you're limited in what you can get out of those source tapes, I think. I'll be really interested to see if Mobile Fidelity comes out with their own master of this someday. I have to think they probably will, since they've done the first two albums, but we'll see. I probably would give that a listen. But things sounded a little bit too loud in spots, a little harsh, glary. I think I prefer the original Born to Run to this one. And I did not compare it to I think it's the 30th anniversary edition on CD, but which, as I recall, sounds pretty good. I don't know if that's the same mastering as what they did on here. It's probably not. But yeah, there's so many versions floating out there. So I was like a little bit underwhelmed with this one. Like if I wanted to listen to him on vinyl, I probably wouldn't reach for this one first. But it's still nice to have a clean copy on hand. And side 2 did sound better to me than side 1. Like, I don't know why. You get to Darkness on the Edge of Town. This, a little bit similar to Born to Run. It seemed like it was cut pretty hot. It was kind of on the loud side. And I wanted to be more involved with it. Now, I did not compare this to the original Darkness on the Edge of Town. My strong suspicion is I'm going to prefer the old one to the new one. But maybe not as disappointing of a listen as Born to Run was. It was satisfying. It's just, I need to listen to it again and gather some more impressions. But again, nice to get a clean copy of it. And so it goes. Now it gets kind of interesting. So here's The River, which is never an album I'm going to say that I really prefer the production style on it. I have issues with Bruce's production style on a lot of his albums, and it's a shame because the songs are so great. But this one surprised me because I found it really pleasurable to listen to. Like, I don't know, it must have something to do with how they remastered it. It was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. Like, it has this kind of, I think they were trying to evoke this like 60s garage frat rock sound. And they did a pretty good job of, imitating that, conjuring that. And it comes across really nicely on this vinyl presentation. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Now, I have not compared this to the OG River that I have, so I can't tell you if it's like dramatically better, but it was just subjectively, I thought, oh yeah, this is pretty good. Like, pleasant surprise on that one. Now, if you really want to get the full picture of The River, you really are going to have to spring for this, The Ties That Bind, The River collection. And this is like, I don't know if they released this on vinyl, but this is CD box set, really nice package. And this gives you like the whole, almost everything, if not everything, like all the songs that didn't make it onto the final cut. You get the original version of The River, which was just going to be a one disc affair, and then he went back in and like re-recorded everything and added songs. You get, I think, remasterings, and there's just lots of extras. It's like really, really great document of an important period in his career. So that, I'm glad I still have that. And again, I haven't compared their version of the studio album versus what I heard on the vinyl. I just want to say that the vinyl box set version was pretty impressive. I really enjoyed listening to The River again. And then we get to Nebraska. So I can't compare this to my OG because I no longer have it anymore. And this, of course, this was recorded on a 4-track cassette. So you're going to have some limitations with sound quality, and you really hear that on Nebraska. Like the distortion on there, which I'm positive is baked into the tape, really oversaturated and grainy. Yeah, you hear that, but there's a real strong like intimacy to the sound that it was a really good listen. Like, you know, this is a very moody, dark album, and they did a fine job remastering this for vinyl in 2014. So it's great to have this back in my vinyl collection again. And then finally, Born in the USA. Born in the USA was in my original version here, which I bought when it came out. I'm never impressed with like the 80s production style. I'm not a fan of 80s production in general, and you know, it has a sort of digital sound to it, a little thin and so forth. And this vinyl, the new one, pretty good. I really should have compared this to the OG, because my sense of it, just like kind of quick impression, was that this new one sounds better. But I can't confirm that without actually comparing it. So one of these days I might just do a little shootout of this album and see what's up with it. But I thought it was, things sounded a little deeper, a little fuller. You know, it's never going to be my favorite Bruce Springsteen album, but the songs that I like on here sounded really nice. And I just don't know how much of an upgrade it is from the OG. If you have opinions on any of these albums, please comment on them, because again, these are just subjective impressions. I wanted to bang out this video. It's been sort of sitting on the shelf for too long, and I'm like, I got to do this review because I want to share it with the audience. So that is all the albums on the box set, and my overall feelings about the box set is I'm glad I got it. I like having these in brand new, pristine condition. I was disappointed with that dish warp on Greetings from Asbury Park, but with that exception, like while the vinyl was quiet, it was flat, like the presentation was pretty good. A couple of those albums like Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town didn't sound as great as I wanted them to, but they're still okay. And then Wild and Innocent and the E Street Shuffle was a pleasant surprise. I didn't think I was going to like it as much because I didn't prefer the digital mastering on Tidal, but that was like basically fine. Greetings from Asbury Park, basically fine. The River was very impressive. Nebraska was fine, and Born in the USA was fine. So these sets are for, I think, for diehard Springsteen fans. They have great nostalgia value. It documents a period in his career and in my life when I got into him as a fan. And it's just nice to celebrate that with this box set. It also kind of marks the end of my vinyl buying for the year. I actually bought so much more new vinyl than I have in recent years because I just haven't wanted to pay the prices on things. But I did find some good bargains for new vinyl and was willing to spend some money this year to treat myself. And looking back on the year, I really enjoyed pretty much all the stuff I got. There were no disappointments, whether it was all those early Beatles albums or early Pink Floyd, Captain Beefheart, Bruce Springsteen, Jackson Browne. I got two or three of his early albums have been reissued on vinyl, and it's been a great year. But I think this kind of put me over the top with the box set, and I'm like, okay, I gotta take a break and just enjoy what I have for a while. So that is Bruce Springsteen, the box set album collection, volume 1. I'm not going to get the second album collection because things in Bruce's career got a little less interesting to me from this point on. Like, not that there's not great stuff on those albums, there is, but I think I'm content to have that stuff on CD. I do have Tunnel of Love on vinyl. I think and Magic on vinyl, but not much interest in getting any other later Bruce albums on vinyl. So that's going to do it for this roundup. I'm really curious to hear what people in the audience think about this box set. What do your overall impressions compare with mine? Do they contrast? And yeah, please weigh in the comments. And I will be back, I hope, soon. Thanks for watching.